locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, Duke, as you know, this is my last show ever with you because it's the 200th episode and I've just about had it. So I thought we'd do something special, bring in a guest who's been on the show before for one last time. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Nowlin from WZLX. Chuck, thanks for joining us.
Gentlemen, it is a pleasure. It's an honor to be here on this momentous occasion.
Well, Chuck, this is not the last time you're going to be on the show, by the way. I don't know what the Boston Bad Boy is talking about, but we'll talk about this off air because I'm really sick of him today.
Well, yeah, I brought Chuck on because we had a great conversation the other day about the Andre the Giant documentary, which I know you loved, Chuck, because you love a sad story, but it was fascinating.
It was one of the best documentaries of any kind I ever saw. I think HBO did an incredible job on that. And we all grew up with Andre the Giant. To get a peek inside of his life at the pain, the misery, how he became who he was, and the sad ending. It was really
I actually didn't know the ending. I didn't know that story of how he actually passed by himself. That just was like, oh, man, this guy who just wanted to hang out and be a normal, just to say walk down the street and get a cup of coffee. I just want to go do that one day.
And the incredible stories like his farting.
Well, that was pretty disgusting.
His epic fart. But
sure.
the way they described it, you could hear it in your mind.
And that's what he got pleasure out of, just doing something silly.
Yeah, it was like clapping.
Literally. How about the story with Hulk Hogan, though? Hogan didn't even know at WrestleMania 3 what was going to happen.
That was an insight I'd never even expected. And the fact that Hogan, up until he's in the ring with him, not knowing how it's going to end.
Here they are at the Silverdome. 93,000 people are going absolutely crazy.
Biggest moment in wrestling history.
And Hogan's going to be out of his mind. How are we going to finish this thing? He has no idea. And Andre tells him in the ring at the end.
Well, and it's amazing to me that how he said he had written the whole thing out here, and he gave it to him, never heard back. And it turns out he memorized the whole thing. They knew it. They had it down pat. Just didn't have the ending.
And let me ask you this. Vince McMahon at the end got emotional. Was that real?
Baloney.
100% real.
That's what I thought.
No, stop it. Don't talk about my friend.
Because we were talking about that.
No.
I said it was real. You said it wasn't.
I'm going to tell you how it was real. Vince feels guilt.
Well,
he knows it's his fault. He knows.
So, yeah, it's not like I miss my friend. It's like I really effed up my friend.
Well, Andre's back was junk. He had no business being in that match. And he did what was right for the business, not what was right for Andre.
He knew his time was up.
Yep.
And you can't just walk away. I've got to do it one last time.
Yep. It was painful to watch him in that match.
Terrible.
Well, now that you know, like in the time, everybody's hyped up about it. But when you go back now, knowing what you know, and you watch it, you go, "Oh my God, this guy is ready to fall over."
And you can tell Hogan loved this guy. And when they're in the match, he says he puts him in the bear hug. And he said, I stood as straight as I could not to put any weight against Andre to hold him up.
Yep.
And the whole bit he said about when they do the turn before they set it up. And he said, I had the Vicks Vapor Rub on my finger.
Yeah.
He goes, but I got so emotional, I didn't need it. Like, it was just like, this is my best friend, my buddy. And the whole thing, they'd worked together for so long. But it was rewritten to say that this is going to be this big thing. And it was like wildfire. Unbelievable.
So what do you think on the documentary scale? The Andre the Giant documentary.
Don't do this to me, Chuck. Don't do this to me.
I know where this is going.
The Ric Flair.
Wow. He's gonna.
Are you
He's
torn?
gonna weep right now. He's gonna weep.
The Andre was done better. That's a fact.
I agree.
And the ratings are better.
Yeah.
People who know Ric Flair's story say that wasn't good enough.
It wasn't quite honest enough?
Well, it wasn't good enough.
Well, the problem
They
is that
buried him too much.
Flair's still around.
Sure.
So you can't deep dive into it the way you can with Andre.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
I follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter, and I suggest anybody who can, you must follow him because his writings are incredible.
He'll make you humble.
Yes.
Well, and I think it's amazing, the whole is it Hogan telling the story that he couldn't stand guys that would run his mouth, and so Andre, the Iron Sheik, just wouldn't shut up, and he said, I'll take care of him tonight, and he just beat the ever-living crap out of him.
Just because he wanted to.
Andre scared these guys. He frightened them.
Sure.
And that part where you're not allowed to go back in the dressing room area at all?
This is good, because you've told this story on the show before, Chuck, when you were down in Miami.
When I was in Miami, I was down there like 1990, and they had WrestleMania down there, and I was invited to broadcast live from the Miami Arena backstage, and everybody was there. These guys were the nicest guys. They were very professional. They were all just kind of hanging around, and when the mics went on, they went completely into character, screaming, yelling, spitting everywhere. We finished the break, and then they're just handshakes. Hey, I'll see you later. Hey, where are you going for dinner? They invited me to go back into the inner sanctum.
And he says they, and the they he means is Rowdy Piper.
Yeah.
Can I just, we got a name drop there.
You spent time with Rick Rude before. I mean,
Yeah.
Chuck Nowlin is a big deal, folks. We all know that. We all know that.
But I went back there, so I got to see guys are like lifting weights, and they're eating, they're playing cards and all that. And when I saw the Andre the Giant part in his documentary,
Playing the cards, right?
if I had opened up that curtain and went back there and Andre yelled at me like that, I don't think I would be alive today.
He got up, too.
Oh,
You saw
my
that.
God, he was
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Who wants a giant to come after them that way? Give me a break.
Unimaginable.
Wow.
How many wrestlers, we've often heard the sad stories, Jake the Snake, Andre. It's a tough life. It's a circus life. Do you think, Duke, that changes in the modern way? Like the John Cenas of the world will have less tragic stories?
100%. It's a different world out there. They're more financially sound. There's less drugs. So there's more family orientation. The companies are supporting that concept. Yeah, they're not going to be as worse off as the previous generation was.
Which means we're not going to have as many interesting documentaries, because I'm not going to watch a documentary about John Cena and his crew
rude.
cut. You know what I mean?
So rude. You know that? Not in front of our guest.
And also, these guys today, how many of them come up the way
No.
these legends did?
Doesn't exist.
In gymnasiums in
Yeah.
the middle of Iowa.
The Cow Palace.
Yeah.
Right.
I know, right? Which is still, that's a legendary place.
Right, but I mean,
Palace.
it's a good shorthand for being a dump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how they'd have him work, going back to the Andre the Giant thing, you worked in one territory, and then you're a new guy in a different name in another territory, and like 6 nights a week, you're going out there, getting your ass kicked.
It's got to take such a toll on your body.
Yeah. Well, you did it, Chuck. I mean, come on. You've
I
been
did. I got
radio
the ring.
all over the world.
I did. Yeah.
That's why you have those battle wounds.
He was huge in Japan. I don't know if you know that.
I know that.
He was the Irish stallion in Japan. It was-
Domo arigato. Thank you very much.
Well, Chuck, thanks for coming on tonight. And, like I said, this is the last time you have to come on because I'm quitting this show.
He's not, Chuck.
And we thank you for all of your
Duke,
contributions.
congratulations. This is an epic moment, the big anniversary. I wish you many, many, many more, and I'm looking forward to the Duck Boat Parade
That's right.
for the 25th anniversary.
See that? You'll be there. You'll be on the boat.
Absolutely, I will be there.
Can he drive the boat with a little captain's hat on?
Yes.
I get to wear the hat?
You get to wear that.
You guys are the best!
Chuck Nowlin, ladies and gentlemen.
I got to tell you, it feels good to end on a high note for me. It really does. To have Chuck in here, it's a pleasure.
What I don't understand is what the hell you're talking about today, okay?
Well, what you forgot to realize was when you signed me into what you thought was an interminable contract. It was, in matter of fact, in Clause 3 of Paragraph 49, Section 4, as you can see right here, 2 years. And you're the one making a big deal that today is the 2-year anniversary of this show. I'm out. I've done my time. I'm walking out that green mile, and I ain't never coming back.
Yeah, okay. Well, you keep dreaming that, pal. You better read the fine print because I'm telling you right now, that's an ironclad contract.
Yeah, okay.
And if you want to put this on the air, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's an ironclad contract. You're not going anywhere.
You're going to have my
okay?
ironclad foot in your
Yeah,
arse
whatever.
is what you're going to have.
Welcome back to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, the 2-year anniversary special here, folks. I am the Duke, and yes, I do enjoy letting the Boston bad boy know that he's not going anywhere, okay? And I'm going to keep on doing that no matter what my illustrious co-host, producer, / crybaby, the Boston bad boy,
See,
and I'm Mike Pelosi.
why
says.
would I stay here when my contract clearly says I can leave when I get hurled abuse at me? You have no idea.
You're being ridiculous.
You know what?
Okay, you're being ridiculous.
I've bided my time. I've been polite.
you're being
I've been
ridiculous.
polite to you and to the listeners. I've engaged with everybody.
Oh.
I've done the
you
best
call them
job.
subhumans.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I've done everything that was asked of me in this stupid
You know,
contract,
in
and I
2
think it's time
years-
for me to go.
In 2 years, you've steadily gotten more mean towards our listeners.
I don't know what that is
Okay.
nonsense.
Okay.
That's absolute.
That's what's happened.
You're besmirching me because these contract negotiations are not going your way. And like Vince McMahon, You have no tolerance for anybody voicing their opinion. I'm telling you, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I learned from the best. My good friend Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
In
Folks,
your dreams.
On this special 2-year anniversary show, we're going to keep it simple here, okay? We're going to be running the ropes. I'm going to give you the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. We also have Ask Duke, some of your listener-submitted content. And he's back, okay? My good friend, the Alabama Dream. We're talking about Conrad Thompson. He's going to break some exclusive news here on the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast because that's what we do here. And the Boston Bad Boy is going to have to fix his attitude up. I'm going to tell you right now.
I just can't believe a guy like Conrad, who's had such legitimate success, would talk to you at all.
He's a good friend of mine.
The fact that it makes no sense to me, like logically,
we've hung out. He's a good friend of mine.
The math doesn't add up on
Yeah,
him.
well, just so you know, he's a good friend of mine. So, folks, it's been 2 years, and I got to tell you, it has been fantastic, the growth that we've had with the show. We have a successful Facebook group. We have the Twitter. Fans from all over the world. They listen to the show every week.
What are we
all
up to
the
now?
top
3 or 4 listeners? What do we got?
Yeah,
3 or 4.
ridiculous.
I'm always asking you for the numbers,
Yeah.
and you got this little file over there you keep on your little desk,
and I'm not
going to
give it to
and
you.
you don't show it
Exactly.
and I don't think it's right
Because that attitude.
but you know what? Again, that's why it's going away.
All right.
It's going away, and
You're
I'm going
you're
away.
Being ridiculous.
And everybody's going to be happy.
You're being ridiculous. Listen, in the past 2 years, Boston Bad Boy, you've gone from being behind the scenes to now you have a successful show of your own.
Are you trying to spin this?
Okay. You have a successful show of your own outside of this podcast because of this podcast.
Yeah. No, has nothing to do with this podcast.
That's not
It
true.
has to do with the fact that I'm a professional,
Oh.
and you are a deadweight. And I have been held down, and that's why it's only now that I'm getting a show on my own to do my own thing with. So I'm going to focus on that and less of this nonsense and tomfoolery.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why is your resume out there? Because I was poking around online because we are in the market for a new intern.
You are a stalker,
and
I will say
I did
that.
notice your resume's out there on the different websites there. What's going on with that?
Well, I'm trying to get away from you.
Yeah.
And, I know that we're having Conrad on later, and I think I'm going to talk to him maybe off the air and see if I can, if I got to do this, if I've got to, pay some kind of holy penance for some reason, I'm stuck in purgatory doing a wrestling podcast, maybe I could do it with someone that knows what they're doing, has a little traction.
Just so you know, if you speak to Conrad Thompson about any kind of job opportunities, that's a breach of your contract.
You know what the best thing in the world is going to be? Here's what's going to happen. Conrad and I are going to become buddies in real life instead of the fake buddies you are.
Probably not.
And then it's only one more step until me and Ric Flair are hanging out in the back of a private jet. Woo! And we're going to be I'm going to be texting you selfies of me and Ric Flair, and I want you to text me back the tears. I want you to text me pictures of your tears. And then I will know I have succeeded.
You were so rude.
Well, you know what? That's the reality. And you don't like it, not my problem.
Run the ropes. It's time to run the ropes. It's when I educate this knucklehead Boston Bad Boy with the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go.
Thankfully, for the last time, everybody, once again, I just wanted to let you know this is the last Run the Ropes. I wish you all the best listening to Duke's inane commentary, but I'm out.
He's not going anywhere, folks. Trust me. The Boston Bad Boy will be on the next episode. I guarantee it. That's right. Rusev versus Undertaker. That's right, folks. We had some kind of craziness going on here. The Greatest Royal Rumble is coming up next week on the WWE Network, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. The match was announced, a casket match between The Undertaker and Rusev. Then something weird happened where they changed it to Undertaker and Chris Jericho, and now they change it back to Undertaker and Rusev again. I think they're upset at Rusev because he was tweeting some stuff. And he was on TMZ.
I think you're a mark, and I think it's all part of the subterfuge of what's going on here.
I don't even know what that word means.
Because you're a dope.
Oh.
So that's why you don't know what it means. Meaning you always believe that you follow the herring everywhere they take you.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. Who cares why it is? It's going to end up somewhere, and that's going to be the end of it. They shouldn't be, like I said, you said, well, they should have this match, and who should Undertaker fight? I said, have him fight Hogan and call it Jurassic Park 4.
Here we go.
Because, you know what, you got these two dinosaurs. You want to cash in? Just cash in. Just cash in. We all know what they're going for. Cash in and cash this guy out and move on with your life.
Cash me outside. Sad news to report. Folks, former WWF World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Hall of Famer, and beloved by all, including former popes. We're talking about Bruno Sammartino. He passed away. I mean, Bruno is such a legend in the wrestling world. This is a guy who was Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan, you know, and really he was Rocky before Rocky.
Yep.
When you talk about a man that inspired an entire generation, an entire culture of people, especially Italians, oh my goodness. I mean, Bruno was it. Top draw. It's funny because he had a disagreement with Vince McMahon, my good friend Vince McMahon, and he was away from the WWE family for many years. It was only within the past 8 years, I'd say, where he reconnected with the WWE. Thank goodness Triple H was able to bridge that gap, heal some old wounds, and Bruno got officially inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Glad that happened before he passed away.
Yeah. And you know what? You have such reverence for this fine gentleman.
I do.
Of an Italian background. Yet you treat me like the gum at the bottom of your shoe.
If you were half the man Bruno was, maybe that you would get a little bit more respect in here.
Listen, you're like 1/8 of the man that guy was. So
Sure,
I don't
than me.
even know
He's
why
bigger than me,
you're.
sure.
I'm much closer to half than you are. So I think I should get credit for that.
Unbelievable. Samoa Joe and Big Cass are back. That's right, folks. Samoa Joe. We're talking about the man. Joe is gonna kill you. The bad man from Samoa. He's back. He's on a collision course with my arch nemesis, Roman Reigns. You know I can't stand you, Roman. It's been 2 years. You're still a punk, okay? Samoa Joe's going to destroy you. But Joe is back from his injury. He's looking great. I expect him to be champion sooner rather than later. And Big Cass, the guy that I can't stand, he's back as well. Ironically, he was beating up on Daniel Bryan. Talk about a height and weight difference there. And what's ironic is that Cass was injured, and he comes back, and he doesn't look in any better shape than he was before he got injured.
Well, you know,
He's
how
going
I
for
think
that
about
all
this.
natural look there.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know if I subscribe to that.
Sure.
I've seen you in here with your all natural fanny pack.
I am wearing my fanny pack, folks. Of course I am. You know, I'm wearing my sweater vest.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, I
the
got
the fact that you went out of the house dressed like that,
Sure,
is a whole nother level.
Listen, you didn't even see the socks.
And
I got
it's
some cool
it's
socks.
another reason why I'm so glad my contract is up.
Look at those socks. Look at those socks. Oh my God. Sharp.
Did you get dressed in the dark? That's what I have to ask you.
Give me a break.
What is wrong with you?
Everything.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't know what to do with this guy today, folks.
Let me go. Let me leave.
No. Breaking news. Conrad Thompson and Bruce Prichard on the WWE Network.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have Conrad on the show a little later, folks, and we're going to get to the bottom of this because this is ridiculous. Two guys who have been talking about the inner workings of the WWE, going all the way back to the WWF years, somehow, some way, they managed to land a contract on the WWE Network, something else to wrestle with. And I don't know what's going to happen here. We're going to have to ask Conrad, because I know all you folks have been wondering, did they sell out? Is it going to be a different type of show? What the hell?
Jealousy. That's all this is.
Is that what this is?
It's jealousy from you and your subhuman.
From me?
You and your subhuman
What?
followers. Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
that.
You encourage this kind of thing. You know, a man makes it. A man makes it and does something, and because your show is so totally disorganized,
Wow.
you don't have a co-host anymore. You don't have anything. You have no way to produce the show yourself. It's falling apart for you. So you're going to crap on this guy?
Listen,
I can't wait to
Don't
see how
you
this is going
start
to
your
go.
own narrative here and start to put some salt into the relationship I have with my friends.
Listen, you don't. First of all, he's not your friend. He's an acquaintance of yours.
Oh, okay.
He's way better than you. He would never be friends with you.
Wow.
And
Are you
so
kissing
you're the
up
one.
to Conrad Thompson?
Listen, all I'm saying is it's a big world out there. A lot of podcasts.
And you will not be on any other one of them.
Oh, I
That's
can't
right.
wait.
The top story in the world of professional wrestling is John Cena and Nikki Bella call off the wedding.
I actually wanted to talk about this. All week I've been seeing it.
Well, listen, I don't want you to start talking your nonsense because I know how you are.
Even in my last day here, you're going to cut me off.
Well, I don't want you to start talking about your nonsense. I'll just say this. I wish Nikki and John the best, whether they're together or separate. I'm not going to have the Boston bad boy pontificate on this because we know how negative he can be. And you know what? I see the line flashing. Our good friend Conrad Thompson, ring the bell. You've heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk? Maybe something in between?
Yes.
Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin and let me know.
Or get a life.
Up next, the Alabama Dream, Conrad Thompson.
Hi, this is Earl Oliver from Sully's Vintage Wrestling.
This is Raj Giri with WrestlingInc.com.
This is Sean Reed, boxing writer and undercover low-key wrestling fan, and you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling. Woo!
All right, folks, let's just get right into it here. The man, the myth, the legend, the Alabama Dream, Conrad Thompson. How the hell are you, brother?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
Oh, another day in paradise here. Listen, Conrad, everyone's been asking. You know, it's our 2-year anniversary of the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. When we let everyone know that Conrad Thompson was coming back, the number one question everyone had was, why did Conrad and Bruce Prichard sell out? How could they go to the WWE Network with their new video version of their podcast, Something Else to Wrestle With? What's going on here?
That's a real question?
That's what everyone's been asking.
I think it's silly, man. You know, the reality is the podcast didn't go anywhere. It hasn't changed. People may have just heard about it, but we've had this deal in the works for a while, and nobody noticed the change in the podcast because it didn't change. We offered a separate product, not in lieu of, but in addition to, and we're exposing it to a whole new audience. And to be honest, a lot of people in wrestling sort of operate under the auspices of, oh, I made it, whenever they get that WWE deal. Bruce and I are not handling this that way. This is simply a way for us to grow the podcast. So instead of we did a podcast to get on the network, nay, we're on the network to grow our podcast. Our podcast is the bread and butter, and that's not going to change anytime soon.
Well, that just proves that a lot of Dukes fans and wrestling fans in general are subhumans, and they want to crap on somebody who's trying to work their product and become more successful.
Well, I mean, I don't know that. I think people just take an ownership interest in our product and what we've created, and I really appreciate that because that's what we've really tried to do is create a sense of community and something where it doesn't feel like it's Bruce's or it doesn't feel like it's mine. It's ours. And, you know, the idea that everybody was worried is really the highest compliment there is because it shows that they really love something and they don't want to lose it. But they're not losing it. Nothing's changing. I mean, we cursed up a storm last week on the episode, and we were very critical of things, and nothing's going to change. You know, we're not going to talk about the current products. We're talking about old stuff. You know, we're probably going to have an F word beeped here or there on the video version. But outside of that, it seems like it's the same show to me.
So Duke is always talking about his alleged good friend, Vince McMahon, which I know is just a figment of his imagination. You're a guy who's actually met and spent time with Vince. So I actually want to know, what's he like in real life? Is he anything like the character? Because I saw the Andre the Giant special, and he shed a tear, which is totally against what you see on TV week to week. And obviously there's differences, but what's this guy really like?
I wish I could tell you. I've only met him one time. I met him just very briefly in passing at a pay-per-view in 2015. Rick introduced me, and I shook his hand, and, you know, he said, nice to meet you, and where are you from, and how are you enjoying yourself, and thanks for coming. I mean, but that was it. It was
sounds pretty normal to me.
The most casual exchange of pleasantries ever, but it was, you know, pretty surreal from my standpoint because it feels like you're shaking Walt Disney's hand, man.
Yeah, right. Now, you having met him once, I just want to point out, you having met him only once is 100% more than Duke has met him. So that's good enough for
Listen,
me.
for the record, shout out to my good friend Vincent Kennedy McMahon. That's my buddy right there. I appreciate all of your well wishes on our 2-year anniversary, by the way. So Conrad, you've had a hell of a almost 3 years now. It's been since you really started on this path here. I mean, you co-hosted Woo Nation and later the Ric Flair show, both shows with Ric Flair. You moved on to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. What Happened When Mondays with our good friend Tony Schiavone. You have the, 83 weeks with Eric Bischoff that's about to get going here. Now you got the live Something Else to Wrestle. If you could describe what these last 3 years have been like, give us some insight here, man. What's going on internally with you?
Well, it's crazy. You know, it was a happy accident. I never intended on being a podcaster, but when Rick had an opportunity to do one, he asked me if I would sit in the very first time and was asking fan questions. At the end of the show, he was happy, CBS was happy, so we kept going. I never imagined that this would be something that I spent as much time in, had as much passion for, or made a living with, but it's worked out. But I'm not quitting my day job, man. I'm just a fan, and I'm always going to be the mortgage man.
Yeah, isn't that the truth there? What's the most challenging part about doing a podcast with pro wrestling personalities, especially folks who you were a fan of growing up?
It's not really challenging to do it with them. It's challenging to have a good idea. It's challenging to not be discouraged. It's challenging to not rest on your laurels. It's challenging to consistently put forth the effort required to sort of level up. I feel like a lot of people are pretty lazy when it comes to putting together a podcast, and they just assume we get a couple of microphones, click record, and then the marks will eat it up. And that's not what I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create what the fans want, and I feel like that's one of the reasons our shows have been successful is most of the other big podcasts don't really have a fan's voice on the show. And Bruce essentially lets me drive, what topics we cover, what goes on a poll, what questions, where we go with the conversation. I'm steering, and that's total opposite. Any other podcast out there with a wrestler and a fan has the wrestler as the star and, the fan is sort of in the background. And I'm comfortable with that role. I did it twice with Ric Flair. People wanted to listen to the Ric Flair show to hear Ric Flair, but people want to listen to Bruce Prichard for his stories, and it's my job to sort of pull those stories out. So I do think the idea that I sort of drive the show and we're essentially sort of on equal footing, at least from a podcast listening experience, it changes the dynamic of the show, and it requires a lot of trust on Bruce's part and now Tony's part. But given the success we've enjoyed, they sort of trust me now that, hey, Conrad's not going to put me in a bad spot, and everything's working out. So go driving, kid, and that's the plan.
That's good stuff. We're talking to Conrad Thompson, award-winning podcaster, mortgage guy, and fanny pack salesman.
Oh, boy. Conrad, I got to ask you, how tall are you for the record, please?
6'3" and change.
And change. Now, you're a big dude. I saw that picture you guys took, you and Duke, when you were in town, and it was like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in twins. It was like, I actually framed it, because anytime I need a nice laugh at Duke's expense, I look at that picture. But I want to ask you, because you're a big dude and you're a huge fan, has anyone ever asked you to step inside the ring or do some kind of a promo like that? Like, is he going to do it or isn't he? And would you if asked?
Absolutely not. I have no business doing anything like that. I'd much rather be the mortgage guy and on the other side of the barricade. I don't want to be involved in wrestling. I know that sounds silly, but I'm really happy with my life the way I have it right now, and just sort of being the fan and commentating on it is more than I could have ever imagined. So I'm cool with doing what I'm doing right now.
I think that the mortgage guy would be a great wrestling gimmick, and your move could be like the subprime arm bar. Like you have a whole thing built around it. Just saying, if you ever decide to go, give us a call. We'll write for you.
There you go.
Nice. Speaking of wrestling, Conrad, I'm not sure if you heard about this. I know you ignored me, but I challenge.
Rightly so.
Well, I put out an open challenge a few weeks ago. Because word on the street is that you're engaged to Ric Flair's lovely daughter, Megan. And congratulations, by the way. But I'm a little upset about this because you are going to be part of the Flair family.
This is where it gets creepy,
and
Conrad.
That's a personal dream of mine, all right? So I want to marry a member of Ric Flair's family so I can change my name to Duke Flair. So here's how it's going to go down. I officially challenge you, Conrad Thompson, the Alabama Dream, to a match at next year's WrestleMania. The winner gets to marry one of Ric Flair's daughters. What do you say?
I say that Charlotte is single and ready to mingle, so you're aiming for the wrong one. So we could be weird brothers.
Oh, it's definitely going to be weird no matter what happens. It's weird. It's already weird. Yeah,
so that's all right. See, at least I gave him a shot here.
At least you didn't ask him to adopt you, because that was your other line of thinking, and I told you don't ask him, and I'm glad you avoided it.
That would have been a problem there. Let's do some rapid fire here, Conrad. I'm going to throw out a couple of names to you, and whatever few sentences come to mind, just throw it out there back. Dave Meltzer.
The greatest wrestling reporter in the history of the industry, unparalleled journalist in his field, the most committed person to their job I know.
Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
My favorite tag team wrestler of all time, a hilarious promo, an all-around attraction that wrestling's never seen before, after, or since.
Sonny.
1996 to 1999, she was about as Roll Tide gets. I went through puberty because of that woman, and she'll have a soft spot in my heart forever.
Lois Schiavone, the wife of Tony Schiavone.
Probably the biggest accidental podcast superstar of the year. She's just so hilarious in real life, and half the stuff that cracks me up we could never really play on the show. But everyone that I've introduced her to, from my parents on down the line, is just blown away by her personality. It's no wonder that she's gotten along with Tony Schiavone all these years.
Nice. Conrad Thompson.
Two-time podcast award winner, and now the voice of the fan on the WWE Network, which is just ridiculous. But that really is the role that I've tried to take in a podcast, is just the role of the fan and the voice of the fan. And hopefully I'm helping some people save some money along the way, and helping people become homeowners and give their kids backyards, and giving moms kitchens big enough to host Thanksgiving, and a chimney for Santa Claus, and the whole 9 yards.
I got to ask you, now that you're big time, that's my new nickname for you, Big Time. And when you fully take over the whole WWE platform, could you please find me another podcast to co-host? Because I have had it with the Duke.
Stop it.
And he's just, he has the bad attitude.
Well, I got a couple in the hopper right now, so slide my DMs.
All right, I'm gonna look at that.
Christ.
I'm making things happen here on our 2-year anniversary, Duke.
Is there anything else you want to plug real quick there, Conrad?
Yeah, man, I'd love to help some people save some money. This is the right time of year if you're thinking about buying a house. You can still buy a house with no money down. That sounds too good to be true, but we can actually make it happen for you. And here's why you should consider it. If you're a renter, after all these payments, what do you have to show for it? Nothing. It's time to get something for your family. And my company, First Family, we can help you do that. And you don't need perfect credit. Even credit scores in the 500s can make this happen for you. And even if you found another apartment today, you'd have to pay your first month's rent, your last month's rent, and a security deposit. But I can get you into a brand new house with no money down, and we make it fast and easy at brandnewhouse.com. Go to brandnewhouse.com and find out how easy it is to pick your very own brand new house. NMLS number 65084, Equal Housing Lender.
Wow. We've talked to so many wrestlers that can't pull a promo out of the thin air like that. I really think you have a future in the ring. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Well, listen, you don't have to worry about that. I got a bad knee, I got a bad hip, I'm a big old fat guy, but I can run my mouth, and you can see me run my mouth on the WWE Network on Wednesday nights. And on Monday mornings, I'd love for you to check out Tony Schiavone and I on your morning drive at WHWMonday.com. But tomorrow, the main event, Fridays at noon Eastern, it's Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. We've got Rob Van Dam coming up, and then a Backlash, or rather Unforgiven 98. It's going to be a hell of a run here in the next couple of weeks. And next week's episode of the video version on the network might be one that makes the internet explode, brother.
Wow. Real quick, Conrad. Ric Flair is a pop culture icon now, bigger than he's ever been in his entire career. And as far as I know, that started with you and he co-hosting Woo Nation. Give us something to end here. How does it feel to see Rick blossom so much, especially somebody who's meant so much to the pro wrestling industry? Now this guy is literally one of the top stars in the world, period, even beyond wrestling.
It's pretty crazy, man. We had an opportunity to hang out with him the day after the Schiavone wedding. So Megan and I went over to the house and we're just hanging out with him. And to hear him talk about all the rappers that he's corresponding with, here's a guy who's, 68, 69 years old, and he's talking about his friend Metro Boomin and his friend Post Malone and his friend Offset. It's like, what a random, weird, bizarro land we're living in right now. But earlier this week, I shipped a couple of robes to Ric Flair, and then Rick carried them to New York and wore them on the Tonight Show with Offset. And the idea that I sent something to Ric Flair that he wore with a platinum hip-hop recording artist on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon on NBC is the most bizarre sentence in the history of my life.
And that, my friends, is Conrad Thompson. Thank you for joining us on the 2-year anniversary of the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. You've always been a friend. We appreciate your encouragement, Conrad. Thank you.
Hey, man, keep doing what you're doing. That's the only way to grow is to keep plugging at it, and you guys have done a good job with that, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on, talk a little wrestling, and if you're listening and you'd like to correspond with me, I'm very active on Twitter. I'm at Hey, it's Conrad.
Man, I'll tell you, it's always a pleasure talking to my good friend Conrad, but I will say, though, I think he's a little nervous about wrestling me at WrestleMania for
because that's ridiculous.
The hand of one of Ric Flair's daughters.
He would just hit you right on the top of the head, old like hammer, boom style. And
he has to catch me first. He has bad knees, he said, so I think I got a shot.
I just, as we were talking to him, I had this epiphany, and I saw it, like a little roadmap laid out in front of me.
Oh?
I'm going to talk to Conrad. He's going to place me on some wonderful podcast on the WWE Network where my work is appreciated, and I don't have to put up with nonsense from someone like you. And then he's going to introduce me to his friend, his soon-to-be sister-in-law, who he made the point of saying is single and ready to mingle. And I'm going to marry into the Ric Flair family. Ric Flair is going to be my father-in-law. And then I'm going to once again text you pictures when we're in the back of the jet drinking the champagne. And I want you to send me pictures of your tears because I've had it all. It's all worked out. This is not. You want to twist the knife? Here's what's going to happen. So I'm putting it out there. This is how it's going to work. Simple as that. I'm going to marry into the Ric Flair family just so that you can't. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm going to ruin you because you won't let me out of this.
I've given you everything in this world for the past 2 years, and that's your response.
Everything?
That's what you want.
You bring me hard candy.
Yeah.
And you keep it in that stupid fanny pack you're wearing right now.
Listen.
Yeah, and there's hard candy in it because you're mental.
Listen, I got candy.
Look at rummaging around in there.
I got plenty of candy in here.
Listen to the zipper. The cheap
I got
zippers.
new candy for you. Look at
my
this.
God.
Look at that.
No, get that out of here. I don't get it out of here.
Come on.
I don't want to hear get it out. Get it out of here. So that's my new plan. And that's what I'm going to.
That's a terrible plan.
No, it's not.
It's a terrible plan.
You know what? Because Charlotte Flair's attractive. I'm sure she's a wonderful person. I'm sure we get along great. And that's going to be...
She doesn't like you.
That's just the gravy on the fact that it's going to burn you up inside that Rick and I are hanging at Thanksgiving dinner, the turkey. You want another piece of turkey? More cranberry sauce, Rick? No problem. Thanks, Dad. More cranberry sauce? More stuffing, Dad?
If you hang out with Ric Flair...
And I'm going to change my name to Mike Flair.
No. I'll sue you. I'll sue you.
You can do whatever you want to do.
I will sue you for that.
You have no legal grounds.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about this. Folks, up next, we have some listener-submitted content. I'm so upset right now that this guy's trying to ruin my dreams.
It's called Grace Under Fire. Learn how to work under pressure. Mr. Big Time Podcaster.
Before we get to any of that, I just want to say for the past 2 years, we've had some great support from some great brands, including Barnyard Cheese. Folks are still talking about that Duke sandwich.
No, they're not. They talk about Barnyard Cheese because they get a good product.
Yeah.
I think the last time I checked, I called up and got the numbers. They only ever made one Duke sandwich, and they had to throw it away because no one wanted it.
You're so rude.
They had to make one that sat there. The poor sandwich sat there, and no one wanted it.
Shout out to Barnyard Cheese. Shout out to our friends over at Collar and Elbow brand there. Al Snow and the friends there. The Big Vito brand. Vito. Shout out to my man there. Also, next week, Scotty Richardson of Wrestler Weekly. He has that new book. Family, Bacon, and Rasslin.
Is this the book that they erroneously quoted you in?
They quoted me on the back of the book.
Cover?
It's doing very well out there, so shout out to everyone who's got the new book.
Has nothing to do with you.
So listen, I'm moving up in the world. If you want to leave Boston Bad Boy, just understand, okay, that we're moving up in the world on this show, pal. So you can either be on the train or not.
It's not moving up if there's no place to go but up because you're so far down.
Jesus.
Everywhere, every direction is up when you're at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Rude.
So I don't know what you're doing, but I'm done. I'm happy to be done. Via con Dios is how I like to say it.
I don't speak French.
This is Rudy Boy Gonzalez of the Texas Wrestle Academy, and you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling.
All right, you've been going on and on about this show.
Yes, sir.
Time to get this show
2-year anniversary,
Time
baby.
to get it on the road. And I think the best way to start the end of the show is to bring on a very special guest, someone who you've been dying to talk to for a long time.
Ric Flair?
I pulled some strings.
Nature Boy!
I did what I could do. And ladies and gentlemen, caller, are you there? Can you please introduce yourself to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast?
Hey, Duke, this is Myka Madrid, the former Texas Women's Champion. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. What do you want,
He really
Myka?
thought it was Ric Flair.
Give me a break. I don't want Myka on this phone.
I do, because someone needs to set you straight, and I thought, who better?
For 2 years, you've been a thorn in my side.
All your nonsense.
Oh,
2 whole years you've been talking nonsense.
Oh, my God.
When will you learn?
Myka, how does it feel to be the former Texas women's champion? Because I told you before, you play with me, and this is what's going to happen to you. You got your butt kicked by Thunder Rosa. You got your butt kicked by Alexa. How does it feel to be a former champion, Myka Madrid?
It's not bad at all, because I'm going to be getting that title back pretty soon.
Yeah, that's pretty doubtful there.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I did want to talk about getting your butt kicked by Alexa. How did we arrange that?
Well, yeah, exactly. How did you arrange that? Did you have to go call Rudy and have Alexa?
Yeah, I think. I mean, Duke makes a lot of back channel phone calls, but more. I'm talking about me. How do I arrange that for myself?
Yeah. I think the Boston Bad Boy wants Alexa to kick his butt. That's pretty ridiculous, actually. I don't know what's going on with this guy. But I will say this though, Myka, you've been hanging out with a weird group of people lately. I don't approve. I know that you're trying to assemble some kind of stable. You think that that's what's going to hurt me. I just want you to know, just like Roman Reigns, you're nothing but a punk. I don't like you. I will continue to keep the bounty on your head, and you get beat up anytime you step outside.
You don't have
until you apologize to the Duke in front of the world.
You don't have a nickel in your pocket. How can you have a bounty on her head? What are you talking about?
I got connections. Why do you think she lost the titles? Because of me.
Oh, right.
That's right.
I could get Rudy on the other line, and I think we could figure that one out pretty quick.
I paid him off. What do you want me to do?
Okay.
Keep telling yourself that makes you feel better.
Oh, my goodness. Who are you in a feud with now since you've gotten your butt kicked by my 2 girls? Who's your next person that's going to destroy you?
Nobody's destroyed me so far. Well, there's this girl. She's just started, Alex Gracia, but that's like taking candy from a baby.
Wow.
I like that confidence.
Now, she has some good size on her there. She has long legs. She's pretty quick in the ring, and she's pretty vicious. I saw her match against Alexa. What makes you think you can handle the young and up-and-coming Alex?
I had her first match in Laredo, Texas. But she got lucky because I underestimated her. I was like, oh, she's small. She's a little quick, but that will not happen again.
Huh. So basically you got beat up.
I got in with her. No, I didn't basically get beat up. She cheated.
Okay. Here we go.
Like always.
See,
everybody cheats when they beat me.
Everybody, like Duke, cheats his way into having this show.
Okay.
And that's why after 200, is it 200? It feels like 2,000 episodes,
No,
2 years.
152.
Yeah, you know what? I'm done.
Okay.
And so, Myka, thank you for coming on. And this is my last time on the show, so I wanted to. It was very nice.
It's
meeting
not
you
your last time on
and
the show.
talking to
Stop
you.
that. Stop that. And Myka, just so you know, until you apologize to me, you will continue to lose every single match. Okay? So just understand. Every time you lose, 1, 2, 3, I did this to you.
Okay, if you say so.
Ever since Myka Madrid started running her mouth in my direction, she has lost her title. She's been on a losing streak in general. And I'm just telling you right now, it's not going to improve until she apologizes to me.
You are delusional, as usual. But
just like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns hasn't been champion since. When people mess with me, this is what happens.
That's like saying Obama hasn't been president since X, Y, and Z. Yeah, this is the way the world works. People do things and then they're not.
Listen,
we don't live in an era where WWE champions stay there forever anymore.
No, we live in an era where when you mess with the Duke, and just so you know, Boston Bad Boy, this is why I'm trying to explain something to you. When you mess with the Duke, things like this happen. Okay.
You know what? Don't do me any friggin' favors.
Well,
okay.
Listen,
so can we get the show moving,
all
please?
right,
Because I'm ready to get out of here.
Let's go with
I got my desk cleaned out. Everything's ready to go.
Okay. So I got a message here from Charlie What's His Face. What a name. Charlie What's His Face. I like that.
Dear God.
Duke.
By the way, since when are you reading the questions?
Well, because you've been rude all day. I figured I'm going to do double duty here, right?
Is that all it took for me not to deal with these subhumans? All right. Now I know.
Am I going to read Charlie What's His Face? Come on. Duke, what are your thoughts on the negative comments superstar Billy Graham made about Ronda Rousey? I respect Billy Graham. He's a wrestling legend and all that good stuff, and a lot of his promos I manufacture and reuse myself. But I got to tell you, Billy, don't ever talk about Ronda Rousey like that again.
All right, genius.
Okay.
Can you re-inform the audience, anyone who may have missed it, including myself, what the F you're talking about?
Well, Billy Graham was going on and on about the poor performance, which was not a poor performance, but saying that she didn't do well at WrestleMania.
She didn't.
She's not a good wrestler.
She's not.
There was talk of having Triple H tap out to her, and Billy Graham said that would have been the worst thing that ever happened in business and all this crap.
I agree.
No, he's wrong.
No, I agree.
He's wrong.
I agree. He's
wrong.
Here's the thing.
She's a legitimate badass.
They paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
To bring that brand from the USC, to bring some of that alleged badass
realness,
to the WWE, but they've completely botched it thus far. And what's happening is she's going to have a very short shelf life because they don't know what they're doing.
No, that's not true.
That's absolutely true.
It's not true.
They've misstepped every way. The Piper connection is not going over with fans.
What are you talking about? She looked great in the skirt.
I don't care.
In the kilt.
All right, I don't care. It doesn't matter what you had your pants around your ankles about. It's about they were not around my ankles. That doesn't work, and in general, people don't like it. It's just not jiving with people.
Oh.
Another misstep from the WWE. Okay. Another one.
Yeah,
in a long list of them.
Billy Graham, you're welcome to come on the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast and express your point.
I'm sure he has better things to do.
But just so you know, Billy Graham, I won't go easy on you because here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to speak negatively about Ronda Rousey, one of the greatest athletes, an Olympian, a hero to many. You're not going to speak negatively about her
because I will.
Because that just shows a lack of class on your part. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't appreciate it. Knock it off.
You're unbelievable.
Okay?
You're unbelievable.
Next up, we have a message from Shari Opal. Shari says, Duke, why are you always taking a soft stance on topics? Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
That was pretty sharp.
Well.
Huh. Well, Shari.
Well, that puts a fine point on it. Let me tell you that right now.
Well.
Because you are soft. You don't have it. You're yellow. You got a yellow streak right down the middle.
I'm pretty.
And you're a company man. And that's the saddest part.
Stop it.
You're not an independent free thinker.
You know something? I'm going to take a hard line on something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope it's me tearing up this contract that I'm stuck with.
You're stuck with the contract. I'm going to take a hard line on something. I'm going to take a position that is not a popular one, and I'm going to upset a lot of folks here, but it's a 2-year anniversary. Boston Bad Boy is threatening to leave, so we figure if this is going to be his last episode.
I don't threaten. I do.
Well,
like Yoda said, there is no try. You do or do not.
Okay. I don't watch Star Trek. But if this is going to be the last episode for this guy on our 2-year anniversary, then he's going to go out on a bang because I know for a fact we disagree on something that's happened recently.
Oh, boy.
And I brought it up briefly earlier. Didn't want to get there. But since Shari Opal wants to run her mouth and insult the Duke, I guess I got to let it all out here today, folks. Okay, the 2-year anniversary, the gloves come off, baby. Woo! That's right. So.
What? After all that useless pontificating, will you just get to the effing point?
I'm getting
Christ almighty.
Give me a break. John Cena and Nikki Bella
Stop saying his name.
Have called off their wedding.
Good.
Okay? And I'm going to tell you something right now, folks. I watch Total Divas. I watch Total Bellas. I monitor the social media.
When you say monitor,
with the fans.
That sounds really creepy, just so you know.
Well, it comes up on my news feed. What do you want me to do?
Monitor.
I pay attention. I am a wrestling expert, okay? I pay attention to what the hell is going on in this world.
Then how do you have such soft, useless opinions on everything?
Well, because those are my opinions. Yeah. You know, soft to some, hard to others. But here's my point. This was the greatest thing that John Cena's ever done in his life. You know why? Because he was going down the wrong path, getting married when he knows damn well he does not want to be married. Okay? He says he doesn't want to be married.
Okay.
So that's number one. So he avoided a bullet there, thank God. Good job, John. Number two, you have a lady who wants to have children. Why would you marry somebody who wants to have children when you don't want to have children? So he avoided a bullet there because she'd probably blame him for the rest of his life because she doesn't have children. That would have been terrible. So that's number two. And number three, he was doing her a favor. This man is worth like $55 million. She is not. She has her own wealth, but she doesn't have his wealth. And she was freely spending his money. And she was bragging about it everywhere, pal. And I got receipts. Oh, hold on. And I got receipts. Okay? Even on the TV shows, her own sister and her brother-in-law said, hey, we can't spend money like that. We don't have John Cena money. But she was living it up, pal. So you know something, John Cena? I commend you, my friend, because guess what? You're not being spent out of house and home. You don't have somebody who's going to blame you for not having kids later on in life, and you're not getting married because that's not what you want to do. And because of that, John Cena, you're all right with me, pal. Thumbs up.
That was maybe the most amazing river of bullshit I've ever seen flow out of a human being.
Don't be rude.
You really, thank you for my last show showing me how the depths of the idiotic things that you can say that come out of your mouth.
Don't be rude.
Do you have any idea how stupid and sexist you sound? Do you? I would think. I know you have at least one brain cell in there. What are you talking about? This guy is a nutcase. Dungarees aside, and I've said it before, this whole good guy thing is an effing act. He might actually be the best actor in Hollywood because he's got everybody fooled that he's Mr. John Cena, American hero, blah, 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 vomit.
Whoa.
He's full of it. He's full of it. And just like you, he is, at no time is it right to engage with somebody in a relationship and not be 100% truthful with them. And I'm saying that meaning if he didn't want to have kids and all this stuff, either they talked about it and agreed as adults, or he's full of crap and he strung her along on and on and on and on.
That's not true.
And realized when he had to put his money where his little tiny mouth is, he didn't want to part with any of his $50 million, whatever the hell he's worth. It's a sickness. And what it is he's too big for his dungaree britches.
Stop that.
And to treat a woman like that is completely, or man, let's not, just to treat a significant other like that is completely uncalled for, and it shows a complete and utter lack of character, which explains why you're standing up for this guy.
This man spends his free time doing Make-A-Wish. He's granted more wishes than anybody. He's a Hollywood movie star. He's a TV star. He's a wrestler. This guy doesn't have time to be messing around with people who don't get it.
Donald Trump donates.
And I don't think
Donald
she ever
Trump
got
donates to charity. So what? We're supposed to forgive him for all the idiot things he's done?
No, she doesn't get it. Okay,
no,
he's
you don't
John
get it.
Cena.
You don't
all
get
right?
it. Do you realize that this guy had her sign like a 75-page document so that he could live in his house?
It's his house. Why wouldn't he?
What the hell is wrong with you?
You know why he had her do that?
You know what that is? That's some R. Kelly level stuff. That's some cult behavior.
Bring that in here.
That's some cult
You
behavior.
stop that right
because
now.
it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
It's smart.
And it's controlling. What it is putting the dollar sign ahead of anything else in a relationship. And you know what? She dodged a bullet because this guy, his brand is now damaged, and that money's not going to be coming in as quick as it's going to be. He is starting the slow slide down the slope. And you know what? She got out, and she's going to be better off in the end because you don't treat people like that, A. And two, where does he get off? He looks like he's like a shrunken head on, like someone took an action figure and took the head off of a short G.I. Joe and put it on the tall G.I. Joe.
What is wrong with you?
Remember in Beetlejuice when he ends up, he's sitting next to the guy with the shrunken head at the end of the movie? That's John Cena. She dodged a bullet. She has a bright future ahead of her because she will no longer be putting up with morons like him and morons like you who regurgitate such stupid crap.
You're sucking up to Nikki Bella now when
no,
you know
I'm
damn
on the
well
right side
John
of history.
Cena did the right thing.
I'm on the right side of history, and once again, for the last time, you're not on the right side of history. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm off this show, and I'm done. So for the final time, Tony Schiavone, take it away.
Mr. Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.
Thank you, Conrad Thompson, for joining us. Myka Madrid, no thank you to you, although I'm happy that you keep losing. Facebook, Twitter, type in Duke Loves Wrestling. Check out the YouTube.
Here it goes.
If this is the Boston Bad Boys' last episode, I say good riddance. I'm sick of his attitude, folks. You know what? Next week, let's bring Vince McMahon on the show.
There's your contract.
Okay? Get out of here. Yeah, you know what? You might as well leave then, pal.
I will
See you next week.
I'll see you.